All right, so welcome back, everybody, to the second video. So, uh, picking up from the last time, from the last video, we backed on the first part. That is, maybe I can rename this to blueprints. Yeah. So, in the last video, we reached the point where uh, I finished designing generally the outlay of the blueprints. And these blueprints are the ones which are going to help me like know the correct dimensions of a normal, reasonably priced vehicle and reasonably sized vehicle in Kenya. So just to cycle through the views, we have this the front view, we have the side view, and of course the top view. So generally, it's the top view. And so today's video basically will be creating the platform or what people call the chasis. For an EV, everything, the most important part is the platform because the platform is where everything is joined to. So I'll just quickly start off by getting the correct position of the wheels. The wheels are going to guide us to know exactly from where the car starts till the car ends on both sides and also front and back. So to start us off, because I know this video might take a long time, so I'll be very brief and just try to cover as many points as possible. So yeah, you can bear with me because the speed will be a bit fast. All right, so we'll start off from here. We've come to the scene collection. So we've got our blueprints set up. Everything is okay. We've got the back, front, side, and top. So we won't need to do much about that. So the first thing I will do is create a new collection. So this is going to be the chassis, or let's just call it the platform. So the platform is what is going to right now, and so later on, we're going to do away with the body and just work with the platform only. So to begin us off, first, of course, I'm going to go into the side view. So just let me make it fill the screen because I need to know the size of the wheels. So we'll just pick it up from there with the platform ready, and then just ensure that we got all the parameters correctly. All right. So starting off, we'll pick us up with a mesh, and then we're going to start off with a cylinder. So the cylinder just forms here, so we can just quickly move it to somewhere where we can just see it properly. So it's a big cylinder, like quite proportional to the vehicle. For this cylinder, this is going to represent the wheels. So first of all, let me do some housekeeping on here. So we'll work on this side, get the correct shading correctly. So studio light or the moonlight, the studio lighting setup. And then I will need to work with some shadows. So I'm going to turn on the cavity. And for the cavity, I'll work with 1.117. And then for the value, let's work with 1.267. 0.267. Also, I might need to turn on some shadows, and then of course the X-ray help us see through. I think that pretty much says it for this part. I don't know. There's nothing much that we can do from here, so we close that. Then we're going to go into the edit mode. So hit the tab, and of course we're in edit mode. In edit mode, I like to turn on this feature, auto merge vertices, and then split edges. For the threshold, I think we can make it bigger. Let's work with 2 millimeters. And then I don't know what should we set for the mirror. Let's work with enable symmetry on the x-axis. Yeah. I think we can work with that. Okay, so I think yeah, we'll just leave it like that. No need to select which axis should be working for that. So so at the moment, this is how the cylinder looks like in respect to the size of the vehicle. So it's already too big. So I'm gonna rotate it to. Even before I rotate, let me scale it down. Just rotate it to um 90, or we can just do this. No, let's rotate it on the x-axis. On the y-axis, 90. So it faces the side of the vehicle. And then scale it down to that. Move it on the y-axis so it comes somewhere near the vehicle. Then again move it. Let's move it on the z-axis. Yeah, just want it to fit next to the size of the bill. So G again on Z should come somewhere like there. Scale it down, and then G on Y. Yeah, that's pretty much does it. Maybe we can try to just take it down a bit and then scale it down to fit the wheel. All right, so that's from the side view. The cylinder looks like it's fit on the vehicle properly, but if you check on the top view, on the top view, well, should be somewhere. If you look from the front, yeah, should be okay. So from here, we can add a mirror modifier. So to duplicate everything that we do on the other side. So mirror, and then so the modifier has been put. So we want us to split this on the x-axis. So yeah, something like that. And then from the front, so that we can get the correct size of the wheels. Let me see. So scale on the x-axis. So make it a bit now. Yeah, should be something close to that. But might we need to move a little bit inside and then scale again on X so that we just get a proportional size of the wheels. I think that does it. That pretty much looks okay. So let me just nudge it a bit on there so that it covers the wheel properly. So from the front view, it looks okay. From the side, should look okay. Maybe I can give it a bit more size. So we scale it a bit like that. Yeah. And then from the top view, I can see the wheels are set. So generally, my wheels, though, they look a bit too big. So yeah, that scaling didn't do justice well. So let's just make them a bit smaller and then move them on Z axis so that they stop being too big. So yeah, that pretty much does it. So if you look in the 3D view, it looks perfect. It looks perfect. So side view, I think okay. So yeah, that pretty much does it. Then I want to duplicate this to work also for the back wheels. So that does that on X, on Y. So just quickly move it to the rear part of the vehicle. And yeah, we have four wheels. Perfect. So now from this view, I can just know exactly where my vehicle will fit. So I can see that I already have the four wheels. They check out properly. Even the back wheels check out very well. From the side view, it's perfect. From the front view, and also from the back view, the wheels look okay. The wheels look really fine. All right. So back to the side view. Now, this is where now the heavy lifting now begins because remember, for this design, I've chosen it's called a skateboard type of platform or chassis. So that means the skateboard design is whereby the battery of the vehicle will come at this part here. This section here is going to hold the battery, and the powertrain is going to be in front. That is, the electric motor is going to be in front. The batteries here and other maybe connection points are going to be back here. So that means definitely the design of this old vehicle won't really cut it. So the first thing that we need to get to understand is for a skateboard type of chassis, what does it really entail? Come to this view, and skateboard means that there are going to be two, maybe how do I put it? Steel, not the crossbar, but the bars that will run from the front to the end, two of them going parallel to each other. That's what we're going to model right now. So one thing that I'm going to just take with a grain of salt is it's called the shock absorbing system or the suspension system of the vehicle, which generally going to determine the which point the those two parallel steel bars are going to go. So that for now we won't consider, but we'll just assume it's going to move at maybe at a certain point on where the wheel starts and where the wheel ends. So for this type of skateboard chases or the skateboard platform, my design generally will be such that the battery, since it's going to be located at this point, so the battery will be probably 1550 by 1750. So just somewhere here and here sits properly. And then, of course, the ground clearance is something that we need to check. So first things first, let's see how our battery is going to look like. So let's go into side view. Side view now is here. So this will just give us a rough idea of what we should be able to encounter. So the first thing I want to do is do some housekeeping. This is the wheels. If you look carefully, there are two of them. So you've got cylinder here and the cylinder and the modifiers that form just going to form the part of that. So for this, I would need to have something that looks like in the form of a cubed or something. So I normally like to ensure that when I add items, let's just add items when they're not in edit mode. That means in object mode. So it's going to form something like a cube. And this cube of mine generally is not the correct specification. So first things first, let's get the dimensions correctly. So for this cube of mine, and whenever I'm doing such design, I always like to have a pencil and a paper next to me so that I ensure that I get all the dimensions correctly. So just 2 seconds. So we're just going to work with those values on X and 50 on Y. And then for the height, that should be 150 millimeters. So what do I mean when I'm saying, so this is rotation, this is the scale dimensions. So for X, since you're working with the millimeters, so for my vehicle, first of all, we need to understand where X is and where Y is. So this should be X and this should be Y. So this should be 1550, and then the Y. I want you to just note something interesting here, 1750. And then for Z is 150 millimeters. So the here is where the battery is, but if you look from the front, it's actually in front. So I'm going to move this on X, sorry, on Y, just to place it roughly there. I'm not really sure where it's going to be. So for me to be exactly sure, let me go on to the side view, and you can see it's already down. So G on Z. So let's first move it there, and then G on Y should pretty much drop it correctly where it's supposed to be. So I'm just doing just a bit of estimate. That's where the battery should be. So not bad, fitted quite well. If you look from the side, we've got the battery on the correct spot. So this will change. This is not like the final resting point of the battery because I'll tell you why. Some things we need to consider are like where and how far should those bars be and everything. So once you have the battery set, the next thing we need to work on are now the two parallel steel bars which are going to be running from the front to the back. So let me get the view correctly. For this bars, I've really done some research and looking at what's available on the Kenyan market right now. I think they're called square hollow tube or something. So that should be, let's work with 200 by 100. Yeah, because most of them come with around a diameter of 3 millimeters. So, so I'm going to have, so this is, let's rename this to battery. That's a battery. And then let me just quickly throw in those two bars. So this again is going to be a cube. So let's just go back to, yeah, this is object mode. So some water. Again, our default cube. This cube now, um, we need to make some changes because I'm looking at what I have here is pretty much 4083. So it's 4083. That should be on X. Um, Is it? No. No, no, no. That should be on Y. So this is 4083. That's on Y. Yeah. So X, um, that should be around, let me see. Is it, that's the thickness, it's probably 100. So should be very thin. Yep, that's correct. And then for Z, that should be the height. That's 200. So it's going to be very good. That's going to work well. So we move this on X, on Y, should be almost the length of the vehicle. Yeah, that's good. And then G on Z, I want it to come exactly right next to the battery because this is what is going to be holding the weight of the battery and resting it on the wheels. So if you look at this diagram so far, it looks like it has gone in well. Let's just take it from the top view. So it's exactly at the dead center of the vehicle, which is not our ideal position because I want it to be working on both sides. So for this again, we'll throw in our common surface, it's called what? Our mirror modifier. So when that happens, so I can now move it on X. So I should, oh. Not yet, not yet. That should work like that. So let me see from this view. So the surface modifier has been applied for the cube. So if I say G on X, it's just moving on its own. So let's see why the modifier is not working. Hmm. Y and G on X. Okay, let me put this one. Let me move it in terms of hierarchy. Let's change it. Oh, no, I think I know why. I think I know why. They're doing too much editing on that. So yeah, that should work right now. So G on X should move it perfect. So yeah, just don't work on edit stuff on the in edit mode. Should in object mode should be in edit mode. So what I'm doing now is just estimating to where the battery should actually end. So this is now where you actually be able to see how big body of a vehicle is. If you look at from this side, let me see. If you look from the side view, from the top view, uh, my two bars are almost towards the edge of the vehicle. So I'm looking at something which I can tuck in the battery very well inside this tool. And again, they are flush, completely flush with the wheels, which is not bad. But again, this looks good, though I'm sure we need to make some few changes as we go forth. Okay, so back to the side view. Everything checks out very well. Have the two bars. So now, what do we need to do next is, you see, for each of these two bars, they need to go slightly above the wheel and again come and terminate at the front of the vehicle here. And so for me to achieve this, I'll need to modify this to go above the wheel and again from the back. So what's going to happen is on the side view, let's divide this into quite a couple of uh, positions like that. And then we should start now the actual moving. So what I want to do is I want to start from let me just be safe and start from somewhere here. So just gently start G on Z. So I want to just to lift it up a bit. I don't want it to look like a weird curve. So again, just move it on Z, on Z, on Z. Yeah. Then also for this, G on Z. Then for these two, G on Z again. So my aim is just to ensure that I can reach almost at the level height of the wheel. But again, I don't kill the curve because the curve is everything. So on Z, so I think that should be okay. To be safe at this point, you might want to turn on it's called what, the snap to grid or snap to, yes, to ensure that you don't lose your line. And then again for this G and on Z, so just constrain yourself on the Z axis for now. And again, so for this also G on Z. And then that should be okay for now. And lastly, a G on Z. So you can actually move all this together. You don't have to be so, how do I put it? So you can see for mine, since I didn't turn on the snap to grid, this is not a straight line. You can see, so let's just hope this works. I'm really not sure about this tool sometimes, but yeah, I should do something about it. Let me just hope that is like the the correct position. So just to ensure that everybody is on the same line, we will do this and then G on Z. Let's not snap too far from. Let's just leave it like that for now. So if we move to the 3D point, you can see I've not actually a bad curve actually. It looks reasonable. So it's also appeared on the other side, so that's good. Uh, so also let's do this for the same for the back wheel. Since I'm working on the same axis, so it's much easier if I don't have to again to move to a different. So let's move to the back of the vehicle. And here, in the same way, I want to start. Let me start somewhere here. So G, should I turn on? Let me just see how good it works. We work on. Oh, that's a hard curve. That's why I don't like this tool sometimes. Let's just G on Z, just a gentle curve on Z, and again G on Z. So the back wheel does not really have such uh, maybe specific requirements as a front wheel because the shocks for the back wheel are very simple. So G on Z, um, that's why I won't really go high as compared to the front wheel. That should pretty much do that. And then G on Z again. Yeah, we can raise to that position. And then the last part is this last set here. Now G on Z. Yeah, that just does it. So looking again from the design, doesn't look bad actually. I love those curves. They look natural. And we can see, let's see how bad we have done with the battery. So we've left out the battery at this point, and again, we've left out the battery at this point. So nothing bad, should be fixable later on. So from the top view, everything is okay. Front view, pretty much fine. All right, so now we're going to move to the other axis. So on 7, now this is the most trickiest part. So I just want to make sure that I get it right and get it right the first time. So our goal here is to bend these two bars to ensure that they give enough room for the wheel to rotate. At the same time, let's not take too much of our battery space. So what I'm going to do now is from here, I'm going to start carving this from here. Yeah. So let's select that part. Now G. Now we are going to be working on the x-axis. So gently start pulling to now the left or the inner part of the vehicle. Remember, let's not make very tight curves. So G on X should be on X slowly. Again, G on X. You just pull it gently. Yeah. Just make sure you give enough space for the wheel on X. So you can see already I'm way into the space for the wheel to turn. So therefore this definitely will need to be worked on again. So G on X. I just want to make sure I give enough room for the wheel to turn without it having to touch that part. So G on X. So you can see everything looks so not bad, not good actually. And the last part is this G on X. That fits right there. So coming back to this corner here, we can make some changes. So let's see whether we can pull this a bit to the left. I want to make something more of a natural curve without it appearing to be too stiff. So G on X. And then this whole part G on X. So yeah, that looks not bad. Though I would really wanted this to just to turn a bit like this. Remember, guys, I don't want to lose the natural curve, so so for the blender guys or the blender gurus who are really good at blender, maybe you can suggest to me a simpler way of doing this. But I'm not a pro. I just use this tool for making my designs. Okay, so coming back, so you can see we've really done a good job. Okay, this is what I'm going to be working with. I can say that would require some bit of work, especially for these parts here which are protruding. But worry not. Let's work on the rear part of the vehicle now. So we're going to go into a top view and then move to the end. Let's zoom it so at least we can see what we need to work on. So now from this view, again, I'm going to start looking from where I'll pick up the curve. So it would be safe if I picked it up from here. So G, again on the x-axis, start off a very gentle curve. Nothing nothing tight, nothing complex. So G on X, somewhere like that. I think all of you should now be able to move G on X. So that just does it. So I think we've got enough space for the rear shocks. So G on X again. For the rear wheel does not have a what do you call this? It does not have to turn, so that's why I can be quite generous on how much space I'm going to give it, and that is also will be able to tell us where our battery is going to have more space to play with on X. At least that now I know that the back part has more space than the front part. So because the back part is just the batteries, so when the shocks, nothing much should come here. Okay, that pretty much does that. The rear part is a bit easier to work on than the front part because you see I have a lot of space here than the front part. In fact, in the next video when I'll be working on the front suspension, you'll notice we are going to have a lot of changes on this part here, because this I know is a very difficult part, especially when it comes to modeling the suspension. So the battery is neatly tucked inside here. You can see there's some protrusion. This is not bad to remove, not hard to remove, so you can just clip off those parts, and then that generally will be able to hold the batteries. This part here is going to hold the motor and the other parts. So I think right now it will be good if I can add. Should I add or should I not add the front, the back bumpers? No, the front bumpers. Okay. So first work with the bumpers. So quickly just move to the front view. Come here, and again we need to do some housekeeping. So this is, let's call it the steel bars. So back to edit mode, object mode. I want to add another cube. Let me add a cube here. And then for this cube, let me see, what dimension should I add here? Or should I not add them for now? Because there's going to be quite a large number of changes that I need to make. So I think for now, I won't add the cube, so I can just safely delete it, because I know there's going to be quite some changes. So I think that pretty much does it for today's video. We've got the general structure of the skateboard chassis. Remember, I told you the skateboard chassis is just generally this. This where the battery is, the drive unit, and we are still within the ranges of the vehicle. So from the side view, you can see generally how it's going to fit in. I've tried my best to ensure that it fits in here, but disclaimer, the front part will change because of the suspension system and also where the motor is going to come and stand. So I think that pretty much does it for today's video. All the views are checking out correctly. And I think that's been a long video. It's also almost 37 minutes. So I beg to stop at this point. So the next video is going to be even more complicated. I'm going to be working on the suspension system, which is going to guide me on exactly how much space do I have to place the motor, and also clean up on the batteries. And yeah, that's pretty much be able to work with. So once again, thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. Let's meet on the next video. Goodbye.